the best division in Hearts of Iron 4. Well, for single player. It might work quite well in multiplayer as well, but for single player, there is no better division than this one. Trust me.
Nice.
But what's the good of me just showing it? I need to explain why it's good, and you can kind of make your own little variation on it. Don't just copy what I do. You can do that to begin with, but then evolve and make something kind of unique that's kind of your own flavor. Make your own art. Become your own artist. And here we have Hearts of Iron 4. Now, there is the major expansion coming out for this game later on. If you are playing that version in the future, hi future people, this will still work. There are a few tweaks and changes you can make to make it even more effective, but for the most part, it'll just equally be as effective as it is now. Anyway, let's begin. So as a part of normal game of Hearts of Iron 4, you always want to gain army XP as early as you can. Army XP will allow you to modify your division. In this case, it costs 5 XP to add a single battalion of mountaineers on. So more than likely, as you progress in the game to begin with, you want to hire Chief of the Army first of all. Now, higher ranked Chief of the Army will give you more ticking army XP. 3 ranks, a specialist, an expert, and a genius. As Germany, we only have experts, so we just pick one of the experts. You can say gain 0.3 daily of XP. And there we go, look, it's going up. Gaining XP daily. That's the easiest way of gaining XP early in a game of Hearts of Iron 4. Alternatively, you can send troops to the Spanish Civil War as well as send attaches. Also, you can send volunteers to the Spanish Civil War or China and Japan and fight in their wars as well, getting you a little bit of XP for the combat you're going to be involved in. But they're the main ways of getting XP early game. Once you have got enough XP, we can start assembling the perfect division. Let's just talk about the stats that are most important, particularly as a part of a division in a single player game. First of all, soft attack. Most of the time when you're fighting with your infantry, you're fighting against other infantry, which make up the majority soft divisions. In this case, this division is 100% soft and 0% hard. The hardness is 0%. It is just a simple breakdown of what percentage of soft attack and hard attack you will take based upon the stats that you currently are fighting of. In this case, 72 damage of soft attack will inflict 72 damage of soft attack to a division that is equal to this one, aka 100% soft or 0% hard. Now, getting the hardness up doesn't really help you that much, but late game, if you do add mechanize on, that will give you a lot more hardness. Therefore, it will help you fight against infantry divisions because they'll be taking very little damage. Anyway, soft attack is what I just covered in a moment ago, and it is important because we're going to add on artillery divisions. I personally think you should add on 2 to begin with and expand it as you progress in the game. So this is technically what you start off with. This offers you a substantial amount of soft attack. If you want the division to be cheaper, my advice is get rid of the supports. Find a division that doesn't have any supports and you can add it on. With Germany, you don't really have that option. They've all got supports on. I think when you do take out Austria, you'll be given a bunch of extra templates, and with those you can then potentially find a division that doesn't have supports on. But this is what you basically want to start off with, this division. Don't worry too much about combat width. For the most part, anything between 10 and 44 will work, okay? Don't get too mid-maxy on the combat width. But at the very end, I'll leave an extra note in to tell you about what is the best amount of combat width. Armor is a stat that allows you to get a bonus when fighting a division that can't pierce it. It gives you an extra 50% damage to the organization of the opposing army that you're fighting. And when organization reaches 0, you can beat that division. So if you want to win a battle 50% faster, having the armor bonus will help you. This division has 0 armor, and to add armor on, we can add a battalion on. In this case, we'll add a medium on. There's no armor on this because I don't have an actual tank available to add on. If I go for a heavy, that gives me 18 armor with 6.7 piercing. Fair enough. In a perfect world, you need the double amount of armor compared to their near piercing to get the absolute biggest bonus in combat. We're not going to go too much in depth about the bonus, but for the most part, that is what you need to begin with. All right, let's talk about the other bits and pieces you are going to need to research. First of all, you need the first anti-air tech. This will unlock the basic anti-air gun for tanks. From a production basis, for the cheapest possible cost to the amount of armor that you are given, anti-air tanks, SPG-AA, self-propelled AA, are the best cost effectiveness for a tank division. So that's the reason we're going to go with anti-air. I'll explain more about that later on though. So make sure you have the very first flak gun technology. Next of all, it is also worthwhile to get the very first basic armor protection because it does give you welded armor. As with everything in Hearts of Iron 4, you'll start off with the basic technology you have at the start of the game, then you will progress and build off the back of that to make the division more enhanced and more robust. When it comes down to it, you've got the option between lights, mediums, and heavies. The reason we're adding tanks on is to get more armor stats. And when it comes down to it, the cheapest overall tank for the amount of armor you get out of it, the most cost-effective balance is the medium. So we're going to start off with the intermediate tank chassis. Be aware this has horrendous amount of reliability, but don't worry too much about reliability because we're not going to have many of these tanks as a part of division. It's a total amount of reliability based on the reliability of that equipment that's a part of that division overall. Are you still with me? Anyway, we're going to switch out to single man turret because it's cheap. Then we're going to add on the basic anti-air gun. Then we're going to add on a bunch of armor. Then we're going to add on the welded armor because it is most cost effective. And then for the most part, you can add sloped armor on. From my experience though, sloped armor is something that's not really effective early game because it does cost you 10 army XP and it is something to work towards it later on if you want to get extra armor added on to your army. But for the most part, at the very start of the game, it's not the most effective. Anyway, now we need to see if we add on a faster engine, if it's going to work out more effective for us. I think a gasoline engine is the best because it gives us the best possible speed. And then basically we add on engine until we get 4 kilometers per hour. Don't worry about the speed because it's only going to go the same speed as the infantry can walk. And then you need to change it to an anti-air tank. And this is what we end up with. This is the baby. Woo! Yes, give it an icon. Let's give it a... We've got any other tanks? Make it that's a panther. We'll make it look like a panther. Why not? So there's 2 things this is doing. This is giving us lots of bang for our buck for the armor stat. That's why we're here. It's all about the armor stat. And it comes down to it. This is the cheapest overall cost you're going to pay. But there's an added extra cherry on top. Air attack is a part of this division now. So we don't need to add on additional support AA. Adding a little bit of AA onto your division goes a long way. But this is going to add on loads of AA. And we can start producing this. All right, let's complete the division. We're going to add on now the medium self-propelled anti-air. Now, this is the part where I talked about cost effectiveness. Now, if you look really closely, a single piece of medium self-propelled anti-air is only 36 pieces. Can you see that? 36 pieces of anti-air. Now, however, if you add on different combinations like a battalion of medium armor, can you see it requires 50 for a single battalion? For a heavy tank, it requires 40. And for a light tank, it requires 60. So as you can see from a cost-effective perspective, it is actually better to go for the medium anti-air when it comes down to it. There is a deep calculation with a bit of a spreadsheet meta. If the editor remembers, he can put himself a little icon up there and you can click on that video and it'll give you the full breakdown. But overall, what we've done this for is to add on armor and to add on some anti-air. And this is it, boys. This is the division. It's got all the things you need. It's got organization, which you're getting from the infantry. It's getting soft attack, which you're getting from the battalions of artillery. And then finally, you have the medium SPG, which giving you a chunk of anti-air capabilities, the air attack, as well as a nice chunk of armor. You're not blown out of your seat. You're probably thinking and scratching your head right now, like, what is this? I don't even understand what we're talking about here. Well, this is the perfect balance between having the right stats to do all the damage, but simultaneously as well, keeping the cost as low as possible. Now, don't get me wrong. You can make a division that costs significantly more than this and is equally going to be as effective. But overall, this keeps the cost as low as possible. So when it comes down to it, if you're going to be grand battle planning, which you probably will be doing that quite a lot if you're a noob or you're playing a lot single player, this division is perfect. Should I demonstrate? Of course, it goes without saying, you always want to exercise your division to level 3 because that's when it's going to be most effective and it'll give it the most overall amount of firepower. We are using 1936 technology here, but for the most part, as you can see, you can battle plan here and you absolutely demolish everything. I understand what you're looking here. This is not a complete fair test. I get that part. We're here just to give demonstrations, but for the most part, you can make this division significantly faster and more powerful as you progress as a part of a normal game. And as you can see here, with not even trained divisions, with not even generals attached, we're doing some absolutely insane damage. So as you progress in a normal game of Hearts of Iron 4, there's going to be loads of modifiers you're going to be able to stack so you can do more and more and more damage. The first thing you want to do is understand that anything you can reduce supply will allow you to squeeze more divisions and more stats into a very small area. So for instance, it goes without saying, logistics are super OP. The first initial one reduces supply by 10% and the next one is an extra 10%. It also reduces fuel consumption. So adding logistics on is a super no-brainer. This is reducing your supply by 0 to 1. So just think about it. Now you can squeeze in 20% more divisions, which is more stats, onto your front line so they can do 20% overall more damage if you've got more divisions that are fighting on the front line. This is a really big deal. Another nice to know as well is adding a maintenance company on. Now, once again, I don't really usually do this, but if you're grinding the front line and battle planning, to be fair, if you're ever battle planning, maintenance company is a no-brainer as well. It just saves you just so much equipment. So not only is this improving the reliability overall by giving the extra 10% 10% bonus, but it also means in the event of equipment getting damaged, there's a chance it can be recovered. So you can see in this instance here, we lost the 36 tanks, 39 now, but 4 of them could be recovered due to the fact that the reliability was so considerably high, and maintenance companies go a long way to help you with that. Once again, it's kind of an optional thing, but if you are single playering it and battle planning like I'm doing in this one instance, maintenance companies are just absolutely massive. If you're not and you're microing individually, probably maintenance companies aren't really going to help you out. Once again, another no-brainer moment, but as you progress in the game, you're going to be adding on considerably more soft attack as you're improving your artillery, adding those battalions on, and as you progress as a part of a normal game as well, you are going to be upgrading your tanks as well. So put auto upgrade on, and then also simultaneously work your way down anti-air, and then it's going to unlock more improved medium tanks with a better turret for anti-air. In this case, we have to upgrade from a light to a medium, so go for the 3-man medium, improve the speed, and simultaneously at the same time now we can do things like add on sloped armor, for instance, or even add further armor, and we've got the technologies for it. And this overall is going to give you more air attack and more overall combat capabilities. Be aware that the tungsten cost does get quite high though when it comes down to producing this anti-air, because the more advanced anti-air gun has a cost for tungsten. Last but definitely not least, which is something I always forget about, is engineers. They give you a big flat attack bonus, practically all terrain types. The medium is the sweet spot. The light bonuses aren't as good, so recommend the sweet spot right in the middle is the mediums. Look at these bonuses: attack into forests, hills, 5% attack into mountains with flamethrowers. Why is that a bonus? I don't even know, but it's definitely worth it, and all those bonuses are absolutely awesome. So in that case, of course, I'm going to add a flamer on there. And of course, with flamers, you can make them as dirty, as cheap as possible, because it really does not matter. Add on the flame boy, and if you hover over, you can get the bonuses there. Can you see that? Extra movement speed in force. Movement speed in force? I don't get it, but you get attack bonuses for practically everything apart from deserts and plains, which is always a straight up win. So I'm going to take a guess right now. You're probably still not impressed, right? You're probably still thinking, this is just normie single player stuff. What are you talking about, Dave? What is going on here? I hear you, okay? So what if we did a combat width meta? What if we take it all the way to 11? Let's do it. So the normal path will be 4 artillery battalions. Then we add more infantry on for more HP on organization. And if you want to take it all the way to 11 and give yourself the extra chunk of armor, which you probably won't even need, but the option is there, you can add an extra battalion of anti-air armor. The problem now is you've made a division that's very chunky, and the losses with this division are going to be exceptionally high. So just be aware that if you declare war and you are battle planning with this massive division, you are going to take some astronomical losses. You have been warned. I think it's time to take out the Czechs with the colossally big division. I think one of the most important things to remember about this is if you are battle planning, there are some areas you will struggle the most, particularly with supply problems. There's no way around that. Particularly if you've gone all the way to the 40 width, you are going to be in a situation when you've basically got no supply. So the only way necessarily to fix that is going to be to fix that supply situation by having logistics or improving railways, for instance. Some honorable mentions. If you're looking to take your soft attack game just to the next level, support artillery could be worth it. Could be. Not necessarily, but could be. And that just gives you an extra little bite of soft attack onto the division. It's not massive. Personally, I don't think it's very cost effective. However, the option is there. And finally, if you are going to do naval invasions, as you can see, adding an engineer on will give you a massive 25% extra attack bonus for doing amphibious invasions. And because you've got armor as a part of this division, you will suffer from a nasty penalty for amphibious invasions. So just an FYI, if you are going to use these divisions for a naval invasion, do your D-Days, do your Sea Lions. Adding an engineer on is definitely worth it. And then we end up with this, which there's no doubt about it. This is perfection. Can you see at the start of this video, I selectively chose to show you the weak version first and then the most OP version, because that's how you play Hearts of Iron 4. You don't make the God tier division at the very beginning. You kind of work your way towards it based on equipment, manpower costs, and the technology required. And eventually, heading towards the mid-1940s, you have that super strong division that can basically do everything. And in that circumstance, you'll be able to make this and you will demolish every single front line. In this case, the Romanians. The Romanians are getting absolutely demolished. Oh, the Soviet Union as well. Once again, I'll say it again. This is not a fair test. I mean, 936. I've unlocked a bunch of technology just for me and nobody else. However, it just give you an example of the effectiveness and how far and how powerful you can go with this kind of division. I will say though, the more you battle plan, and this is a mistake I make in a lot of my videos, the more you battle plan, the more you need to rely on keeping that reliability up by going for a maintenance company. But the reliability as a part of these smaller proportion of equipment, such as the AA tanks and also as of the flamers, because they don't make up a large part of the division, the reliability is not as important because it's an overall average reliability that's calculated as a part of the division as a whole, not individual pieces of equipment. This is what I refer to as the feedback gaming meta division, which, as I've tested it for the way too many hours of the game that I played, is horrendously effective. In the last 3 or 4 videos that I've made on my main channel, all I do is make this division every single time because it's just so good and it allows you to battle plan and just turn your head off. If you're looking to make encirclements though, you're probably better off with a 40 width, 42, 44 width tank division. Hey, if you want more of these meta style videos, don't forget to like and to subscribe, and don't forget to click this video here. This video is going to give you some more sweet min-maxing content. Give it a click.